into it. Really
I do want to chime in on this a little bit because this is also something that I have dealt with for many, many years in my line of work. It is never fiscally responsible or wise to not get married if you have children, or if you, especially if you have actual assets. Now, if you don't have assets and you don't, you have babies with a dude who don't have anything, then that's a little bit different. But even then, the least you can have is a life insurance policy. And the last thing you want to do when you're grieving your significant other is bickering back and forth and going back and forth to court with his relatives, which brings me to point two. I don't care how close you think you are to your significant other's relatives, people switch up when a relative dies. And if y'all don't think people enjoy having power and wielding that power, let your significant other you're not married to die, and his mom or one of his siblings or one of his other relatives is his next of kin. If y'all have children that are under the age of 18, the children obviously can't be an executor of the estate, so they're going to go to the next of kin adult. And if y'all don't think they won't nickel and dime you, you're wrong. I don't care I don't care how close you think they are and how much you think they love you. People will switch up on you. And even if they don't, you don't want to be the dummy that takes that risk and find out the hard way. Now, that being said, there's a reason why, because a lot of people like to take the tone of, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. It's just a certificate. If it's just a piece of paper, why do you have such a hard time going to just do it? Because your assets need to be protected. And if you and your significant other have had children, y'all started businesses, y'all built an entire life together, which means y'all have money in the bank. Don't you think for a second his mother, his father, or one of his siblings, whoever his next of kin, don't think they won't want to get their little grubby fingers on that money. And you don't want to be arguing and bickering and trying to get your kids taken care of through another adult because you went and had children and built a life with a person who refused to marry you. And the reason why we're making the assumption that the woman is the one who would get effed in this scenario is because typically it's the women who want to get married and the men who don't. Because as a woman, as a nurturer, as a mother, what's very important to most women is security. So it's not marriage just because, oh, they're just so obsessed with men. They're making sure that their children are secure. Even if you're broke and you're a regular person and you don't have businesses and you don't have a lot of money in the bank account, in your bank account, you literally, even with the life insurance policy, you don't want to be bickering and arguing about who's the beneficiary of a life insurance policy. You don't want to have to go to his mama begging her for money about a life. Listen, and there are, people might talk, oh, power of attorney or a living will. People can contest those things. And although a will or a living will is very difficult to contest and win, a power of attorney doesn't really cover much. And there are many different types of power of attorneys, and a power of attorney is very limited. So the person who has the real power is the executor of that person's estate who passed away. And if you don't think your significant other's family will financially ruin you, you're wrong. And it comes to a point in time where we have to understand this. And marriage as we know it, where you go to the courthouse and you're legally and financially tied to each other and all of these things. Marriage in its inception was created to as a way to wield and control power, as a way to keep resources and money within the confines of certain families. That's what marriage was made for. Marriage was not for love. The marriage as in going to the courthouse and stuff like that. Like, you can make vows and stuff like that, but don't dare think about having babies with people and building a life and building businesses and getting mortgages and getting car loans and personal loans and business accounts. Please do not do those things and you're not secured by a marriage certificate. Marriage don't work. Like, this is a little bit of more of an enlightened conversation, so I'm not going to get into this part of it, but I'll just say briefly, there's a reason why marriage don't, in white supremacy, white patriarchy, the way they define marriage, there's a reason why it doesn't work for a lot of black people and people of African descent and other people of color and of indigenous descent and things like that. There's a reason why it doesn't work for us, but we're here. We're on this earth. This is the social construct that we are forced to navigate. So you have to play the game, which means you don't need to be building a life with somebody that you're not married to. And we don't have the luxury of being ignorant and being naive and being clouded with emotions. No, think smart, okay? Be wise. Protect yourself and protect your children. And this goes for both parties, because the woman can pass away as well. And men will be sitting around arguing with her siblings. Don't let it be somebody you treated them bad or something like that, or they don't really like you. People like control. People like power. So if you think that they're just going to be nice to you because y'all always got along and y'all hugged and joked, when money is involved, people switch up. I see this stuff every day. I see it all the time. People will financially ruin you and they will sleep like a baby at night. And if you really want to be for real, if people want to be for real, think about your family. Like, if I think about me, my significant other, and us sharing a life, like, if I think about that and then I think about who my parents are, like, I would make sure that if we built a life together, even outside of children, if we built a life together where we, had houses and we had loans, I would never, and I can't even stress this enough, I would never sign a loan with anybody. Like, I would never co-sign on a loan unless it's like for business purposes that I'm as a individual is not responsible for. I will never. The only thing I would sign with someone is a mortgage, and any other kind of loan, I would never put my name on. Listen, I've been working in finance for over a decade. Listen to me when I tell you, do not co-sign for people's shit, okay? I would never do that anyway, but I would not trust my parents to consider my significant other if I wasn't married and they were my next of kin. I would not trust my parents to take into consideration my significant other and their wants, them knowing me in a way that my parents don't know me and know my wishes and things like that. I don't think my parents would give a fuck about my wishes like that. I think they would do what they want to do. And for that reason, I would make sure my significant other was legally and financially protected. I wouldn't rely on any of my family members to do that. But I'm also a bit of a control freak and a Virgo. So I don't leave stones unturned or T's uncrossed and I's not dotted. But that's just me. I know people who, like one of my exes before, I was like, if we ever got married, like I would get a multi-million-dollar life insurance policy on you. I said that because he had children, but also for other reasons. But he jokingly was like, and a lot of people say this, and it's not really a joke, like, you ask them to get life insurance and they act like you're trying to off them. Y'all are idiots. It was no shock that we aren't together anymore, but I would make sure the person that I'm with is taken care of when my name get called, okay? A lot of people don't think like that. And if they don't think like that, they don't love you for real. Period.